Hey, here we go.
Hello.
Let's see if this works. Hey, look at that. That actually
Oh
worked.
my gosh, now we just got to get his audio. I can't hear your
Okay.
voice yet. Oh, I hear you now. Can you hear me?
Hear y'all.
All right.
Sweet.
That's awesome.
All right, we're on. We're rolling.
We are ready to rock and roll. Am I saying your last name properly? Jason Bassler?
Bassler? Yeah,
Bassler?
close enough.
Okay, all right. So everyone's very excited.
Yeah,
that
this
you're
one this
here.
one got a
Yeah.
lot of attention real quick.
Huge. Yep,
Oh, wow.
everyone is
Awesome.
really pumped about this. So you are
Cheers.
co-founder of the Free Thought Project, V for Voluntary, and founder of the Police the Police. So before we get to talk, oh, what are you drinking?
Before we do
Got
anything.
myself a blue moon.
Nice.
Oh, those are
Yes,
good.
those are yummy. I always like to find out about people's journey towards liberty. Getting outside
Sure.
of that Democrat Republican kind of box that we're placed into, at least when we're born usually. Was this something your family was always, were they like liberty lovers, or was it something you
Ooh.
found later?
I wish. That would sure make things a lot easier. No, I never really had any like political influence from my family members like whatsoever. I grew up in the Bay Area, California, California. Please forgive me, please. But
Not your fault.
so yeah, I know, right? But in some ways, it was good. It was certainly like a counterculture area where I lived in Santa Cruz. I don't know if anybody's listening is familiar with that, or you guys are familiar with that. But it leans left. It's like a heavy left-leaning kind of liberal town. So I always just thought I was a Democrat. I didn't really put much time or effort into like realizing what I was saying or what that even meant. I just knew Republicans were bad. So that was it.
That's the general consensus.
There you go.
Yeah, right. So I was always interested in like activism and stuff. I even worked at like a Forest Forever nonprofit, which was like trying to save certain areas of national forests in California and stuff. So it was always kind of like something I was interested in. But once Occupy Wall Street came around in 2011, that kind of got the wheels turning for me. I had just bought like a brand new iPad, which were like brand new at the time, and I just happened to start watching a lot more YouTube and was paying attention. Like actually had a source to kind of give me like the news, directly. And so Occupy was kind of like the first hurrah for me in being interested in trying to figure out what was going on. And I remember specifically seeing the protesters out there like being thrown around by police. Didn't matter if they were young or old or peaceful or not peaceful, they were getting brutalized by the police. And something just kind of went off in my head, like this isn't right, like something isn't cool about this, and I need to somehow get involved. So obviously I didn't keep going down that avenue. I started to learn more about Ron Paul. I think there was some protester at Occupy who was like, "End the Fed," big old billboard, and it was like that moment where I kind of was like, Ron Paul, I feel like I've heard this guy before. Like, what is he all about? I need to check him out. And then once I did, it was almost like, I don't know, like an epiphany like went off in my mind. I realized that this guy was speaking all the stuff that made sense to me. And I've never, still to this day, never been like a cheerleader for a politician at all. But Ron Paul just seemed to make sense to me at that time.
Yep.
So that kind of opened the can of worms, and then I started getting more and more information, more and more YouTube videos, and just trying to read as much as I could. And I was just absorbing as much information as I could to really start understanding what was going on. Even before I tried to start any social media pages or anything like that, I just felt like it was really important to get a good grasp and understanding some of this stuff. So that's more or less.
I remember the
That's
Occupy
great.
times, and we were into Ron Paul and stuff like that. And we had some groups and stuff, and I remember trying to co-opt that movement from a liberty perspective. It's like get out there and explain to them what the problem is, so that they don't take it the wrong way. Everybody wants to beat the rich.
Yeah, there was that Peter Schiff video, that awesome Peter Schiff video. I don't know if you guys remember that, but he goes out there and basically saying like, I am the 1%, and come have a conversation with me. And he's got all these random people coming up to him. And I think he had a bodyguard, rightfully so, because some of those people get a little crazy.
Crowd mentality.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, most definitely. But definitely check that on YouTube. I mean, he holds his own for at least like a good hour just trying to explain economics to these people. And like, they just don't get it. It's like the 1% bad. And that's all it, really.
I don't want answers. I want to be angry.
Yeah, I think
pretty much.
that's sometimes how it is.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah. So then, which one of these pages of yours did you start first? What was the one that was it? The police then?
Yeah, it was Police the Police, and another page that died in the purge last year called Get Involved, You Live Here, which was more kind of still me trying to figure out my ideological direction, and I just knew like I wanted people to get involved one way or another with some kind of activism or something. But then it was Police the Police, and that's the longest running page that I'm involved with.
Can you share with everybody watching? I think everybody is probably a fan of the page already, but what the page is all about.
Yeah, Police the Police is, well, at one point it was the largest police accountability platform anywhere on the internet before the purge, but it's basically a platform for documenting and highlighting police brutality, misconduct, and abuse of authority. So it's
it's
very
necessary. Absolutely necessary.
Keep that front.
Do you get a lot of crap from people for doing that? I
mean, that's a touchy subject.
Yeah.
That's like the state of
the bootlickers, they're triggered easy. So yeah, I mean, it's amazing how many messages we get in our inbox, people hating on us and telling us that we're the scum of the earth, and
I'm assuming a lot of threats.
I was going to say the threats. How do you handle that kind of stuff? I mean, if somebody seems really irate, do you even respond, or do you feel concerned ever about your safety because there are crazies out there?
Yeah, not really. I mean, the way I look at it is like Alex Jones is still around and he hasn't been accosted or shot or killed, and not to compare myself with Alex Jones, but he's just so like on that other edge of shock jocks and
that's a good point. That's a very good
point. Yeah, he said some touchy stuff too.
Yeah, he has. And he's still alive.
Most definitely. But no, I mean it doesn't take too much of a toll. Most of the time, it's just just dismissing it and trying to weed out the bootlickers, because unfortunately, they really rarely have anything productive or substantial to add to the conversation. And every once in a while, you will get somebody who does seem a little interested, and they start asking some questions, and it's like, okay, like maybe I could plant some seeds here, but otherwise, it's
and that's all you can. You can plant a few seeds, and that's. O'Brien McDuffie here says that Police the Police has been enlightening for me. So, it
Wonderful.
That's a great...
That's the thing. A lot of people come into it, and it's so ingrained in you that you just respect and honor these authority figures.
Obey.
And to question everything. That is like really counterintuitive to just a normal American. So even if they're open-minded or they have questions, they're going to come in with a little resistance.
Sure.
Especially if you're coming at from left field to them. You're coming in hard, like like some of our friends.
And we do, we don't hold, there's no holds barred basically in Police the Police. Like we're definitely trying to interject a libertarian perspective there, and a lot of people, just like what Ron Paul did, a lot of people just don't get it. Like, what, you want to abolish the Department of Education? Like, what do you mean? That's crazy,
Right.
And it's like, well, we're just going to jump a couple steps there within your, ideological progression, and then just start.
Did that page now, did you say, was that part of, like, have you had any kind of censorship issues or banning as far as Police the Police goes? Have you had issues with Facebook?
Oh, yeah. Pretty much every, basically anything and everything you could think of. We've been shadow banned. We've been throttled. We've been blocked. I've had multiple 30-day bans in a row. I got 3 different 3-day bans for one video. I mean, it's been.
Wow.
I don't know if I can cuss on here, but Facebook is definitely a shit show. It's a total mess, and it's unfortunate because they're so innovative in many ways, but then just the way they actually manage the site, and it's a total mess. But to answer your question, last year we in October 2018, we lost 1.9 million fans with Police the Police.
Wow.
And the same day, and that's crazy, of course. That's totally like, it sucks. But the craziest part to me, which didn't really get much media attention, was that Twitter also pulled our accounts that same exact day within hours of Facebook.
Wow.
So it was some coordination going on there, obviously, unless there's just a huge coincidence that
I don't think so. I don't think it's a huge coincidence at all.
Obviously, Liberty memes, same treatment.
Yep.
Right, exactly.
That many followers. How did you recover from that emotionally? I mean, that's a hit.
It was tough. Yeah, it's been tough. It's been a pretty challenging year. But that's one thing we have on our side. We're resilient. We have the perseverance to continue going. And so yeah, the police is up to 3.0 now. The Free Thought Project is at 4.0 now. So, and we're just every time they do it, we're just going to continue going. And I think it kind of makes them look bad in some ways. Not that they care, obviously, but once we get up to the Free Thought Project 19, it's going to be pretty absurd.
It's going to be like
we're back to 500,000 followers. Evidently, there's people that want this content. What are you doing to your customers?
Yeah. No, they don't care about that. And the funniest part too is Instagram's like the Wild West, and they're both owned by Facebook, but you can do anything you want on Instagram and it's totally cool. But Facebook, is so.
Yeah,
it makes
Facebook
no sense.
is very their rules. Somebody said it the one day, and it just made so much sense. You can't follow the rules if you don't know what they are, because they keep changing them, and
they do.
They're very gray.
Yeah, absolutely, and they're actually getting worse too, because now when you get something removed, they won't even show you the content that was removed.
Yep.
And so, I actually heard from a Facebook insider they're doing that because they don't want people to game the system. But it's like, well, how do we know what we're doing right or wrong? I read the community standards on like a weekly basis, and they're constantly changing, and it's like it's a total mess.
Yeah, but
really
let me ask you though. I know my response, my reason for still being on Facebook. What is your reason?
Why don't you leave the
people
platform?
ever say, why don't you leave the platform? Why do you stay on Facebook?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question, and some people, like the great activist Derek Bros, I don't know if you guys are familiar with him, but he just completely left. He's not on Instagram anymore. He's not on Facebook, and I get that. There's definitely a level of being.
Yeah.
It's difficult. Like you don't get much exposure, but that's where all the normies are. And I feel like we're on Minds, we're on MeWe. We're on all these smaller platforms. We're on Gab. But if we're going to try to reach out to the masses and try to plant some seeds, that's where all the people are.
This is where the voters are.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
And that's the same exact thing. Yeah, we feel the same way.
Other aspect of that is just nothing else pushes traffic. And obviously with the Free Thought Project, we're ad-based revenue. We're ad revenue based, so we have to depend on clicks a little bit. So if you look at the analytics, if we have like 500 people on the site, 490 of them are coming from Facebook, and maybe a few from Twitter, and maybe a few from Reddit. But otherwise, it's Facebook is that's where people read stuff, and the other social media accounts people don't. It's more just kind of scrolling through and
through pictures.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. Right.
Hi, Courtney. I'm
now,
gonna get in touch with
do you believe
okay?
in the power of memes then?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Most definitely. Yeah, that's how we've built all those fans, and for a while memes were basically steroids for pages. I mean, they would increase your reach, they'd bring in more and more fans. So before the purge, we lost around 6 million fans of the purge. So we had a whole network of different pages, and the drug war was one of them. But we were also networking with the anti-media and other outlets, so we were able to amass quite a following. But obviously, Facebook didn't like that. So
we have Liberty Memes Admin 1 in the comments section, and he said if you want new libertarians, you have to be on Facebook.
Right.
Otherwise, you just go to our echo chambers and bitch about the state.
Right, and there is a place for that, and I think that's important to a certain degree. But yeah, I mean, we're losing, currently the InfoWars, unfortunately, and we were starting to take a little bit of an edge, and it seems like the establishment kind of took notice of that and figured out a way to change that. So I don't want to get too tinfoily on you guys, but
okay.
No, we're wide open for everything.
Can I make one request before we put on our tinfoil hats? Real quick. I see Peter is in the comments, and I want to ask if he would reply to my friend Courtney. She's asking about what it is to be a libertarian. If he could just reply to her, I would super appreciate that. Or any of my other friends that are on here right now, because she's my RL friend. So if you guys could talk to her. All right, let's put on the tinfoil hats now.
I was gonna say something.
Are you? I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
Are you into? And this is kind of off topic, but are you into like conspiracy theories and that kind of stuff? Like, do you delve into that, or like touch like just the surface of it, or do you just stay away from it?
That's a great question, and I'd love to kind of clear this up with anybody who, is interested in hearing. But I think the Free Thought Project started off more in that direction. We noticed that there was some overlap there with people who are interested in liberty and people who are kind of critical thinkers, questioning authority, questioning the official story on things. So I would say I entertained those ideas a little bit more in the past. I've certainly started to focus a lot more on economics, liberty issues, police state, police accountability, obviously. And we still continue to try to cover some of that stuff with the Free Thought Project because, like I said, there is overlap. So we are trying to bring people more into liberty. But with all the censorship, we have to be much more careful about how we approach things, how we frame things. So unfortunately, some of these topics that they're being covered in the mainstream media, just a couple of years ago, chemtrails or geoengineering, that was a big conspiracy theory. And now the mainstream media talks about it regularly to combat climate change, So, even those topics, we're still getting shit from some people, because we occasionally cover them, and it's like, no, you guys are just conspiratards. But there is an audience there, and some of this stuff is turning out to be like absolutely true, So.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of we were saying this years ago.
Sure. Yeah. Exactly. And it tends to oftentimes turn out to be true. That things come out, and it's like, okay, well, we know for sure.
Closer to the truth than the official narrative.
Sure. Yeah. And of course, don't get started on 9/11, but that's another one. And that's actually a topic a lot of libertarians don't want to touch on.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think
I like your feeling on it, David.
I think people put too much. They think that the government is capable of too much. I think it's a very fractured organization, and there is a lot of weird stuff going on. But I don't think they're organized enough to coordinate something really. I mean, somebody might have did it, but I don't think it's as big of a. I think it'd be a smaller. Like somebody just wants to get rid of these buildings, so they call their friends up and.
Well, I think the one time you told me they let it happen. They just kind of let it happen. So that made more sense to me, at least in my brain.
Sure. Yeah, the architects and engineers for 9/11 Truth, they put forward a lot of important questions, and maybe anybody who's interested could check them out. I think they're kind of the cutting edge right now when it comes to questioning.
Yeah, can you say that one again for anyone in here who?
Sure. Yeah, it's 9/11 Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth. I believe it's a .org.
Okay.
And Richard Gage is kind of the mastermind behind that organization, and he's like a very well-spoken, very articulate individual who makes brilliant cases over and over again for people to at least just start looking into some of this stuff. You don't have to, full on believe that it was a conspiracy, but at least ask some questions. And
sure.
As long as George Bush did it. Bush did 9/11.
So I do want to ask, because you touched on this, that maybe the Free Thought Project sort of started out like this, in this way. What was the basis behind starting that page, and then what has it evolved into?
Sure. Well, so I'm the co-founder, I think you had already mentioned, of the Free Thought Project. Me and another individual, Matt Agarist, were working for a website prior to the Free Thought Project, and it was a little more into it was just a different genre and niche. So we kind of wanted to go more liberty-based, and so we kind of realized that we could do the same thing this gentleman we were working for was doing, but probably better, and for ourselves. And so at that point, it kind of took a life of its own. We were kind of feeling around for some direction at the beginning, but we realized very quickly, actually, that there was a huge market for police accountability information and news. I think at that time, there was maybe one or two other organizations that were really on the internet, Cop Block being one of them.
Oh, yeah.
And Cop Watch, that was another one. But we were really quick with the turnaround rate. So if we found like a story that we felt like was really pressing, we would get it out immediately. And we found on Facebook particularly that there was a huge audience for that. I think our Alexa rating at one point in the US, like we were like 250 or 280 or something like that. And that's just kind of unheard of for like a small website. Yeah. So we were really doing well. Stupid hair. And so in the beginning, we were kind of, we had 7 different writers at one point. So we were allowing them to kind of take on different interests of theirs, different types of topics and whatnot. And they all had kind of their own specific niche that they're interested in. One would be more into like the drug war, would be more into like geopolitics and stuff. So I think at least for the first few years, it was like a more wide range and wider net that we were casting out there, a bunch of different topics. But now the Free Thought Project, I would say 90% of our stories are police accountability, police brutality focused. And that's mostly because these are all events that we could prove to be legitimately true. A lot of times there's video involved, and we're not going to be getting called out by Facebook or all these different fact-checking organizations.
Snopes be hitting everybody.
Yeah, the fact-checking.
No, they're the worst. Absolutely the worst.
I love it's like a battle between Snopes and Babylon Bee. Like somebody doesn't understand what's going on here. Like
it's absurd. It really is, and they take themselves way too seriously. All these fact-checking organizations, and sometimes they're just smaller, like one-man organizations too. And it's a mess. We've had, I think, 4 different fact-checking or false news. They've called us false news on 4 different stories, and we had 3 of them overturned. And it was a bit of a process to even have them overturned, but we're like, no, you guys are looking at this wrong. Here's the evidence. Here's the link. And then they end up issuing an apology, but the problem is our reputation's always already ruined because a lot of times the way they roll these things out is through the notifications on Facebook. If anybody who's shared this article that they deem as fake news gets this notification, and it's like all of a sudden,
okay. I wondered how that worked.
Yeah, and they probably don't notify them like, oh, we were wrong about that one.
Yeah, they don't say like, hey guys.
No.
But the one thing I know from watching all of my friends get zucked over and over is that Facebook remembers. Like if you don't get that strike off your record, that's on your record now, and you do something again, and you do anything like our eternally banned Liberty Memes admin one can post anything, and he's out again. He's getting spawn killed.
Your account's definitely flagged, and then it kind of presents this problem that you never really have any stability. You don't know if the ground's stable, so you don't really know if you're posting something and if you're being throttled or if it's just content that people don't like, and it's always this battle with Facebook. God, I hate Facebook. I really do.
Okay, so you said you've gotten a lot of bans, so has there ever been anything from like months prior where you're just like, wow, this is out of the blue, this is kind of ridiculous? Or a year ago,
they're in the archives.
They're in the archives, And then what do you do when you get banned? You have these pages, so what happens?
Well, that's the funny part about this is that their efforts are pointless because there's always a way around this type of censorship. You could always create a new account, and that's actually originally why they pulled us the first time, or one of the reasoning is that we had fake accounts. I never had a fake account with like a different name. I had my middle name with my last name, and that was considered a fake account to them. But as you point out, this is a business. Like we use Facebook daily, so we have to be mindful of, their arbitrary censorship. They do this, you guys know, frequently. So that's why I had the backup account, but Facebook doesn't like that. So that's, so we have to be careful, but we do have, at least one guy helping us out with social media right now, Johnny Liberty, bless his soul. And he's pretty good about figuring out ways to make like backup accounts and stuff. And luckily, we don't have any actually on the page right now, but we could add them if need be.
Okay.
And yeah, it's a total. I mean, there's always a workaround, but they're making it harder and harder. Basically,
now they'll like track your IP and see if it would alter to you and stuff like that. So you gotta have at least like, it's almost like taking a piss test. You gotta have a friend somewhere else that's got some clean urine, like take over your page when you fail.
Exactly it. Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, I mean they can't stop us, and that's the funny thing is that the demand's going to be there, and so I've actually come to kind of peace with all the censorship. But it sounds crazy, but it's like, well, we're able to just 4 months ago create a new Police the Police page, and it already has 350,000 followers. Amazing. So it's like,
great.
Fuck you, Facebook! Like you can't stop us. Like we're gonna just keep making this shit.
Right on. Cheers to
it's
that.
It's like the black market, and it's beautiful. We will operate outside the rules as long as there is a demand. There will be a supply.
Digital squatters, internet outlaws.
Absolutely.
Yeah, fuck them.
Love it.
Okay, so what about V for Voluntary? How did that come about? Was that the second or the third one that you made?
I think that was the third after Police the Police. Yeah, okay. And that was kind of like my ANCAP libertarian baby. It's like you have to kind of pick and choose these niches that you want to focus on. If your one page is too broad of an umbrella with different topics, a lot of times you're not going to attract an audience. So you kind of have to narrow it down a little bit. And so V is for Voluntary. My good friend Luis Fernando Mises. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him.
He's going to be on next week.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah. Tell him I said, what's up?
Right.
I was just out there in Texas actually visiting with him. He's like pretty much my best friend, but he was helping out with V is for Voluntary for a really long time. So it was mainly just us two doing that for years. And I think we got that page up to about 150,000 fans or so before it got nuked, which is pretty good for a Liberty page.
Yes,
Generally they don't get that big. But
although I have to tell Sherry, because I think it's funny. I'd giggle at myself that I'm drinking out of a wine glass.
Sherry Voluntary. You know Sherry Voluntary?
But I'm drinking Four Loko.
Out of a wine glass.
It makes me feel better about it.
Right.
Anytime you hear me, if I whisper, it's because I'm just whispering to somebody in the comments section.
We try to be very interactive.
No worries. That's great. Sherry's great. Cheers to Sherry. She interviewed me actually it's been a while, but she interviewed me a while back. So,
she's really good.
We love Sherry so much.
Sure.
Okay, so
and I'm sure she loves your page because that's a topic that she tends to drift to.
Sherry doesn't really care for the police.
Yeah. I've noticed that too.
I love listening to her go off. It's great.
For sure.
It's like music to my ears. It's great. So is the V for Voluntary? Has that had any kind of like ban or whatever, like been zucked and reformed? And
that was we pretty much lost like all of our pages in the purge of October 2018.
Isn't that terrible?
It almost feels like it was geared against certain groups of people.
Right, I know. I have
absolutely
weird feeling.
Not to be a conspiracy theorist, like you said, on Facebook and Twitter the same day.
Oh man,
it was definitely. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, and you're not the only person with that story, where it's like, oh, suddenly I was deplatformed from these 3 different or 4 different organizations on the same day within hours.
Yeah, Karen Wedler, we had her on.
It's like, can't you like spread it out a little?
Twitter. Yeah. Sherry says in all caps, "I love Police the Police."
Right on. But yeah, I'm thinking about bringing back V is for Voluntary, just making like a 2.0 version.
Sure.
It's just we just started 4 new pages as well, so it's like it's just so much work to keep up with all of them.
I was going to say,
and I was going to tag V is for Voluntary, and I'm like, I'm not sure which one.
Yeah,
it's gone.
Okay, all right,
okay.
That's why I couldn't.
So share with us. Are you being sarcastic when you say you started 4 new pages? Are you being serious?
No, we just started 4 new ones. And this is part of the reason why Facebook initially claimed they banned us unpublished the pages, was they call it coordinated inauthentic behavior. And basically what that means is that you have
Like,
Yeah, right.
Obviously, you're a Russian agent and you're trying to.
Oh,
spread
that's what-
Yeah,
misinformation.
there was some of that. There was definitely some of that too. They threw that in there for good measure, you know, just to scare us.
Sprinkle
A
that
little
in.
Russia on top.
Yeah. But so now we started these 4 new ones, and it's really slow going at the moment. I have a newborn at home. He's like 3 months old,
Oh,
and
baby boot
singing
camp.
cat.
Oh!
And it's just
Oh
it's
my
been crazy
gosh.
lately.
You're
Oh
in the
my
heat of it.
gosh. You have a baby at home.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
Oh.
amazing.
Mama
Oh.
Mary's coming out.
I am so excited. Is this your first baby?
It is, yeah.
It's the hardest.
And
Yeah.
you have a little boy or a little girl?
Little boy.
Little
Yep.
boy. That was our first 2. Oh my gosh. How exciting. Congratulations
Yeah,
to you.
congratulations.
Thank you so much.
That,
yeah,
and it
I
is.
appreciate
It's
that.
so exhausting.
Yep.
It's beautifully, wonderfully just tiring.
The only thing
Yeah,
I can say
no.
is you're probably making it harder than it has to be, but that's fine. Yeah,
Well, we're on our 3rd now, so
Yeah.
we're like, whatever.
yeah, we're
Right,
seasoned
right. I've
veterans
heard
there.
that. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I've heard that. It's been challenging. I think I was a little more optimistic about the whole situation than I probably should have been. Like I knew it was gonna be a lot of work, but I'm like, holy
Yeah.
fuck, like this is crazy. I don't even have time to like make a sandwich for myself. You
Yeah.
know?
Yes.
Gotta sleep in shifts.
Yeah.
Don't try to be awake at the
It's
same time.
wild. I know. You don't even have. Oh, sorry. That's just me waving to people when I do that little.
I was just trying to feel the fire. I feel like it's
Oh,
yeah.
yes. Yes,
We
sir.
had
so beautiful. Yeah, it's so
Fire,
nice.
We had a fireplace beam go
I wish
through
it
our
was
groups,
mine.
and so
Yeah.
we made a new background, and Mary
I
really
love
liked
it.
it, so it's our new background.
Now
love
we
it.
have a fireplace. And it's perfect for this season.
great.
So,
It is.
I mean, 'cause
Yeah, exactly.
we're in the very frigid. I don't. Are we like northeast? I mean, like, is that what we are? We're in Pennsylvania, so it gets cold.
Yeah.
A lot colder in California. Yeah.
Yeah, for real. Like we have
Sherry
had
coordinated.
snow already, and I'm kind of bummed out about it. And then it got mild again. I'm like, thank you God, it's like 45. I needed that.
45. Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like coordinated
I know,
inauthentic
isn't that-
behavior. It sounds like the U.S. government.
Oh, hey, there you go. I think
That's what I
that's
said.
right.
Well, I don't know.
Well, it's funny you say that because there's some, once again, overlap between Facebook and the government. So, yeah, there's like people who had worked for the government who've
Oh.
taken positions. I mean, just
Yeah.
like any other,
There's
you
a
know,
revolving
crony
door there too, huh?
capitalists, you know, yeah, there's always going to be that happening. So, yeah, I
Yes.
think we had identified at least 10 people who had come from government positions over to Facebook.
Wow.
So, yeah,
It's almost
Just
like they
saying.
want to control the information.
Weird.
it's quite strange. I don't know why they'd want that.
Oh man. Okay, so I have to ask you a couple questions outside of all of this that we've been talking about already.
Sure.
Thanksgiving is coming up. Are you guys going to be celebrating? Are you going to be going somewhere or having people over to your place or just keeping it at your house with just the babe and, you know, hanging out?
No, we're going over to my partner's grandma's house, and I actually have a bunch of family. My brother and his partner just moved to my area, which is super awesome.
Oh, nice.
And my mom's gonna be coming up, and then my best friend and his mom. So we have an entourage, like
Oh.
basically this year for
Rolling deep.
Thanksgiving. Yeah, we are. I'm looking
That's so
forward to
great.
it.
Yes. Oh, that's so great. Do you
Yeah,
have a favorite food for Thanksgiving? Or if the 2 tie for first, that's okay because I have like 3 that tie for first.
Sure. I'm a mashed potatoes guy. Yeah, I'm really big on the mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
That's my
Now,
shit.
does it have to be like mashed potatoes, or is it fine out of a box, or are you a
I
mashed
don't know
potato
if I
snob?
can do the box. Yeah, I might be because I don't know. I mean, I could honestly say it's probably been never that I've had them from a box. But,
My
So
kids
maybe I
only
should
want boxed mashed
do it.
potatoes. So I have
Really?
to
Are they
take, like,
that good?
I have to take
Yeah,
a box. Well, they're kids, but I have to take a box with me,
Right.
like when we go to Thanksgiving, so they'll eat the potatoes.
For a while, like my
Right,
brother-in-law
right.
was a chef, so it's like normally like we were brought up on processed foods. You know, it's like this. That's what we ate. That's what I grew up on, so that's what we're used to. And then he's like, I'm gonna help out with dinner, and he's mashing potatoes. He's putting chives in there and stuff like that. And
Well,
everybody's
he's like putting
yeah.
bacon, and yeah, your family's like, this isn't how we do it here. We just eat regular, like just plain old, like boil the potatoes, mash them up, put stuff in it.
Yeah,
like
actually,
not
yeah, that's
what
like-
they
do. Yeah, they do that,
They
yeah.
do the mash. Now, do you like smooth, or do you mind? Do you hate like lumps, or do you mind? Are you okay?
I
with
could go
lumps?
either way as
Yeah.
long as there's plenty of butter. Like I'm good.
Oh,
Yeah,
butter.
yeah.
So,
I started
Oh,
doing
yeah, I'm a
like
butter guy.
smashed potatoes instead of like whipping them. I like smash them so they're still kind of
Yep.
chunky a little bit, but it's not like it's a good combo of smooth and chunk. Like, I always get to talking about food. I'm sorry, guys. I
No, it's
apologize.
all good.
Because then
No,
everyone's
it's
always
great.
wanting to snack
Yeah.
while they're watching the show.
Right.
Okay, so now, considering the pages that you run on Facebook and stuff, and is there like any talk of politics, or do you guys avoid it, or do a lot of people agree with what you have to say when it comes to sitting around the Thanksgiving table?
Fortunately, yeah, it's really funny actually. The grandma's house that we're going over to for Thanksgiving, she's a huge fan of Police to Police, the Free Thought Project. I think
Wow.
she's
Grandma?
in her late 80s, but she's
Wow.
still sharp as a whip, and she's
Yeah.
constantly commenting on there. I think she had a back and forth with Jeff Berwick a couple weeks ago, which was great. And I was like, Jeff, like, take it easy,
Yeah.
Jeff. Like, this is my,
Don't you
grandma.
dare okay boomer her.
Yeah, no, you cannot.
Exactly.
No, she's
you-
woke.
Yeah, well, yeah. I think she probably was more of a conservative before
Yeah.
she started following our pages, but now she's like definitely libertarian. I don't think she really has like all the principles memorized by heart, but like I
Yeah.
could tell she's leaning in that direction, So
Yeah.
it's been super awesome. But yeah, and then same with my my girlfriend's parents. I mean, they're super like libertarian at heart. They're small business owners, and they're constantly challenging local government politics. So it's a blessing to have them kind of be on the same page with all this stuff, because as you guys know, we could seem kind of like wackadoos to the normies and the establishment folks. So
Yeah.
it's nice to
Yeah,
have them relate a little bit.
Wild thinking, that
Yeah.
we have. Freedom, just leave people alone.
Yeah. But how are you going to be taking care of them? Like, myself?
There'll be anarchy. Yes.
Yes.
Well, that might be a good thing.
Yeah. Now, are you a fan of like the Boogaloo or Big Igloo? Like,
Or at least the
feel
memes.
like, or the memes, or do you feel like, oh, that's the only way that things are going to change?
Oh yeah, are you collapsitarian?
Yeah.
No, I think we're more of like win the hearts and minds
Yeah.
approach kind of folk. We've always kind of preached the non-aggression side of things, and violence isn't going to accomplish anything. I'm glad you bring this up, because there is like a fine line there. Like there.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the argument could be made at this point that people still have their guns in the Second Amendment, and they're not doing anything at this point. But I do think it's more like it's better to have them, and if things get pushed too far in one direction, maybe there would be some kind of pushback. I mean, the Bundy Ranch is probably a good example of what it could be if people were organized enough. But
we'll fuck around and find out.
Right. But yeah, I mean, generally we're just trying to push more of like the peaceful, like trying to win the hearts and minds.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I am. I like them being out there. Like, I think that the Boogaloo memes are very important, just to keep everybody in focus of what's possible if you push too far, if you push too hard, too fast. I know they're playing a long game with taking all of our liberties away, but it's I think it's important, just to say we are, there's more of us than you.
Yeah.
Right.
There are.
Yeah. Well, I mean, unfortunately, it seems like most Trump supporters and the conservatives, have no problem with some of these red flag laws, and they obviously, back the blue and support the thin blue line. So it's a little disheartening that they're so clueless about all that, where it's like, no, don't you guys kind of understand? Like, these are the people who are going to be taking the guns. Like, it should be a no-brainer. Yet they're over there licking boots every chance they get, So.
Yeah. Oh boy, I remember the days when I was.
Oh yeah.
Ugh, it makes me feel gross when I remember, like, oh yeah, you definitely, like,
a lot of people are
doing
just
the right thing,
toeing the line. There's no critical thinking. They're just like, oh, my team says that this is the good thing to do now.
Yeah.
And evidently they have our best interest in heart, because he's going to drain the swamp and make America great again. So this must be how we do it.
So I need to watch that show. Celeste asked if you watch Man in the High Castle. I don't know if she's talking to you or to me or to anyone in the chat, but I heard that's a really good show.
I've heard the same. I don't watch it. No, I probably should though. Is that
Now,
HBO or what is it?
I feel like it might be Amazon Prime.
Showtime? Prime?
I feel like it might be Amazon.
I feel like it was one of those weird ones.
Do you have any free time? I was gonna say, what do you do in your free time? But you might not have a lot.
Yeah, we've learned that that's the first question when dealing with like interesting people is they're usually out
They're
doing.
busy.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, we do the Free Thought Project 7 days a week. Like, I don't take a day off ever.
Wow.
So that generally takes up majority of my time. And I also want to apologize because I canceled last time we had set up this conversation. But my cat's right now.
No worries.
Right. Well, yeah, I'm just sad to you guys because my cat's sick right now, and so between that and the baby and work and just trying to get chores and errands done, it's like I don't really have much free time.
I actually meant to ask you in chat in private, so we wouldn't have to bring it up, but you brought it up about your cat.
How is your cat doing?
It's a bummer. He's been to 3 different vets, 4 different medications, 5 different trips, and they still don't really know what's wrong with him. It's like a thyroid issue, and he's also got like an upper respiratory. So I put in some prayers out there. He's a sweetheart. He's the sweetest cat. So really hoping he pulls through.
Yeah, pets are people's babies.
Yeah, they're
especially
part of your
if you hadn't before you had a baby, then that was your baby.
An extra baby, yeah. They are. They're the furry family members. You know, yeah, fur
not
baby.
Furries, though,
not furries.
That's
you're gonna get some angry reacts here if I mention furries.
Burn them all.
What is your cat's name?
So they're not terribly original names, but I have 2 brother cats. It's Monkey and Bronco, and they're kind of fitting, you know.
Cool,
I don't know. It's okay, not super creative.
That's totally fine. I think that is. Yeah, that's totally fine. We will be praying, you know, for your kitty cat.
Thank you, David. I appreciate that.
That's very
David's,
lots of people. Yep. Oh yeah, David Lynn.
Guys.
A lot of animal
It
lovers
sounds silly.
here.
It's one of those things like it's just a cat, but he's like, I know, but it's my boy, you know.
Right?
So.
It's been there for me, man.
Yeah, 10
I know.
years.
Yep. I totally get it, and I think a lot of people here do too. So.
Oh yeah, in a lot of ways, animals are better than people.
Oh, so unconditional love.
Yeah, unconditional love is the biggest thing.
Absolutely.
There's no argument there to me, man.
You can smack the crap out of them, and
you
5 minutes later, I'm just saying you could.
You could.
And 5 minutes later, they're going to be like, "Oh, I'm sorry if I did something wrong. I love you." It's that whole take your woman and take your dog and lock them in the trunk for a few hours and see which one's happy when you open it back up.
Oh my lord!
It's going to be the dog.
Because one of them's going to be really happy to see you.
Even
though he watched you close the lid.
Oh man, I know some social justice warriors are losing their mind right now.
Oh, they ain't here.
Somewhere.
They're not here.
Yeah, you're right.
Hi, Kaiser. Yeah, that's a funny thing Dave always said. I was like, yeah, Oscar, we had a dachshund. And I was like, yeah, Oscar would have been like,
elated to see me.
So happy, tail wagging, jumping out, licking her face, and I'd have been like, "What the?" You know?
Right.
You'd have leapt on me immediately.
Yeah.
There'd be violence right away.
Yeah. Now,
and rightfully so.
And rightfully so, yeah. And Dave would never do that, but everyone knows that. So there's Thanksgiving, and then there's Black Friday. Have you ever participated in Black Friday, and do you plan on participating in Black Friday this year?
I don't. I don't wait to buy things. Like if there's something I really want, it's like I'm gonna probably purchase it as soon as I can. Like I can't. Yeah. I'm not a Black Friday guy. And plus, you know, that's one of the like memes that we do continually post every year on the Free Thought Project is making fun of people on Black Friday. Yeah. So like I don't know. I probably
couldn't do it.
I
mean, just
hate
because
lines. I avoid crowds.
And people are so mean. They're extra mean that day. You know, because they're grumpy. They're up at 3 a.m.
It would be pretty hilarious to shoot a video with like somebody in like full riot gear, like football pads, going and waiting in line and like actually like, burrowing through the line or something. I propose like Luke, We Are Changed, somebody do that, you know, like that'd be great.
Somebody get that guy a riot shield.
Yeah. Once on Cyber Monday. Now that's a cool thing I can get involved with.
Cyber Monday.
I can be in my PJs and go shopping.
Yeah. And there might be something that I didn't know I needed that I hadn't bought myself yet.
Yeah.
And here it is on 80% discount.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Who knew?
Exactly.
Kaiser loves. Nope, not going to read that, Kaiser. That's just our friend.
He's on an alt. He's wide
not.
open.
I'm not going to read that. So, okay. So, if you had time, to sit down and read some books or watch movies, what would you be reading or watching?
Sure, great question. Well, I have a shitload of books just sitting here on my bookshelf that every day I'm looking at while I'm working. And I'm like, God, I feel guilty. Like I should be reading these. But I did just yesterday actually pick up Tom Woods, the great Tom Woods, 33 Questions That You're Not Supposed to Ask Government. And that's another one that's been sitting on my bookshelf forever. And it's great. Like he's breaking down.
Okay.
The entire thing, yes. But that's probably one. I have plenty of Rothbard just sitting around, although sometimes getting through that's a little challenging. But I feel like it's almost an obligation that I need to kind of get through some of that stuff. Movie-wise, boy, I'm a huge movie buff, to be completely honest.
Really?
I have like a huge, don't judge me, but Blu-ray and DVD collection. And including like a cheesy 80s movies collection. I'm an 80s baby. So,
tell me more. Tell me more all about it.
Oh man, yeah, any 80s movie you could pretty much think of, I got it. So I don't know. That's a tough one for a movie because I do have a few movies that I probably been wanting to watch, but otherwise, yeah.
Yeah. Do you have the Goonies?
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay,
that's
Because Mary has the Goonies memorized.
That's one of those movies that I try not to watch so often because like I have it. It's like memorized in my head as well, and it's like I don't want to burn it out, you know.
And I don't watch it too much, but I'm so pumped. Like we have a 10-year-old, a 6.5-year-old, and a 5-year-old, and I'm like, I feel like I
you
could
get to
all
experience it
handle
again and again.
Yeah.
Right.
But definitely the 10-year-old, and I think Chris, our middle one, would really love it. You know,
Yeah,
I'm worried about like
adventure-oriented.
sloth and the few of the scary parts where he's like, but
so
they'll be fine.
let me ask you guys a question. So like if they're watching it, would they like be able to enjoy it, or do you think because of all like the CGI in movies now and like kind of the technical production and everything that it's not going to be something that really resonates with them? Because that's kind of what I worry about. I'm a little older, but maybe so young. It's like, do I show him the classics and is he going to appreciate it? You know?
You got to keep the classics peppered in there,
and you want to show them a little bit later than you want to show them. I think because they're not ready when you think they're ready. I think. But every time, like I see something come across Netflix, and I'm like, "Oh, that's a good movie," like Princess Bride or something like that, and I put it on, and David's like, "Little Junior."
No.
Well, at first they're always like, "Oh, I don't want to watch this," and I'm like, "Sit down, and watch this." It became
his favorite movie.
And then I go to work. They watched it twice while you were at work. I'm like, "See?"
Oh, and what's the one
that's great.
The Never-Ending Story?
Yeah.
That one, they were all just sitting there, watched it twice, like that night, and then the next day they're like, "Can we watch it again?" I'm like, "Yes, please."
Right.
We'll just fast forward past the horse thing.
That's heartbreaking. Yeah.
Which wasn't as bad as an adult. People still like, it's still, but no.
But I feel though, I get what you're saying because of all of the extra
you're
stuff
overstimulated
that's going on. But I mean, think about when we
watch. A
watch.
good movie is a good movie.
Maybe we watch older movies, but the thing is, though, a good movie is a good movie. So
right.
It's
I watched Avengers Endgame. You guys seen that?
I've not seen that. No,
we haven't kept up with a lot of that.
Okay, gotcha. It's just
Deadpool.
so over the. It's just so over the top with CGI, and there's just so much going on. It makes me wonder, like, how in the world are kids like ever gonna how are they ever gonna one up this? You know, like kids watching this at like the age 6 or 7, like there's nothing's gonna impress them like ever again. You know, so.
I feel the same way though. Like, how are we going to talk?
I think even though it feels like it's degrading it, I think your imagination is very powerful, and when you're watching a movie, as long as it's a good story, your brain's going to add what's missing, in the effects.
Right.
I hope so.
Sure.
I do, because everything is.
Yeah, it is
fake.
Michael
I mean, and I don't mean to be. I don't mean to be like fake, but it's all just the computer.
But very realistic. Fake.
Yeah, so realistic.
Sure.
You don't have to imagine. They make it.
Yeah. Yep.
which is cool.
Oh, I'm so
not,
glad
I'm
to
not,
hear about your 80s collection.
Mary's way into that.
I can't. Yeah, I rarely divulge that, but it felt like the
Thank
right
you.
opportunity.
Yes, I needed that. Okay, so we did we touched base on the Thanksgiving food. If you were going to say your favorite type of food, or if you have a certain specific entree that you love the most, what would you say your favorite food is, or
Ooh.
not genre but type?
Sure. Yeah. No, I love these questions. They're keeping me on my toes here. Let me
Oh, I'm
think.
excited. I just love to get to know
Yeah,
people.
you expected political and philosophical stuff.
I got it. Yeah, a little bit.
Like we talk
That's
about
fine,
that,
though.
but then we like to get to know people. So
Sure. No, I get it. I love Thai food. I'm big on Thai. I'm big on Mexican.
Yeah.
I'm a vegetarian, so
Okay.
I stick to more of like the veggie options. But there's some pad Thai out there. It knocks your socks off. So I love pad Thai. Pad
I
See Ew.
love
That's
it.
another one.
Yep.
Those are both my shit. Um, fried rice, of course. Yeah, I'm a taco guy as well. Veggie burritos.
Yeah.
Love it.
What goes in a veggie burrito?
Oh yeah.
So yeah, we got the rice, we got the beans, we got the cheese, we got the sour cream, guac.
Pretty much all.
That's
you
pretty
need.
much all I
That's
want.
all-
That's all I
yeah.
want. Maybe a little salsa, but people think when you're a vegetarian, you naturally, automatically just want a ton of veggies in all your stuff, and it's
Yeah.
like, no, I love veggies, but like I don't always want like 6 different veggies on my pizza or whatever.
Right.
It's good though.
What
It's-
made
so it's-
you? What? I'm sorry. Did you want to say?
No,
Okay.
no, I'm just-
What made you choose to go vegetarian?
That's a great question. So I was like in probably high school, like early freshman, sophomore in high school or so. And I kind of just realized at that point I didn't really know where my food was coming from or how it was being grown or processed or anything like that. And still to a certain degree, of course, we don't know. You could still buy organic and free range and all that stuff, and you still don't know 100%.
But the
I love
USD
black
says.
beans, too.
Yeah, right, exactly. I mean, I don't know why we trust them and not trust other government agencies, but we still just try to do the best we can. But I think that was a big part of it. I started kind of learning about the treatment and conditions of the animals. I'm a bit of a animal lover, and so that played a part into it. And then also like the environmental factors that we're still seeing to this day with like, the burning of the Amazon forest and stuff like that. So it just seemed to me like it wasn't a huge sacrifice. Like I know some people can't live without eating meat, and that's fine. I'm not one of those vegetarians or vegans who are militant.
Not a hater.
No, definitely not. In fact, I've probably received more shit for being a vegetarian than I've ever given for people being meat eaters. But yeah, it's just that way. But for me, it wasn't like a huge decision to cut out meat, and it's been pretty easy ever since. So.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, there's a lot of substitutes. Like somebody said in the chat, also price.
Sure.
Oh, that was
beans and rice is a lot cheaper than.
I know our friends. They go vegan every once in a while just because they feel better when they're doing it, but then they miss bacon after like 6 months. So they flip flop, but they're like, man, everything's so cheap when we're.
Yeah. There was one year that I went back to eating meat when I first moved down to LA. I just needed to change some stuff up in my life, and I was like, maybe I should eat meat again and like bacon. Like that was the one thing that I was eating regularly. For sure.
Okay, so how did your body respond? Did you have to like take a nibble and then like slowly reintroduce it? Because I don't think I could start with bacon and just nibble it.
Right.
Pound of bacon, please.
Yes, all the bacon and eggs.
I was a little worried about that myself, and I think I thought I was going to have to be more incremental about it, but it wasn't necessarily the case. I think I just kind of went straight back into eating meat, and I was fine. I didn't have any like upset stomach or any type of like illness or sickness. So
yeah, because I hear
I mean, we are omnivores,
People, well, but yeah, I hear people who have had
like
issues,
if I eat a salad, and my body's like, "What the hell is this?"
Yeah, Dave eats a salad. He'll make the biggest salad.
The body rejects it. It's like you haven't had vegetables, and
no, we eat vegetables, but like to sit down and just eat just a salad at like dinner or even for a snack or something. He like makes this big bowl and then he's just like, oh, and I'm like, see, you can't just be
throw a Four Loko on top of that.
There you go.
Oh man. I want to ask before I forget, because I love this. I've been asking people and I love to hear about it. What was your first job?
Yeah.
Good question. So I worked at a paintball fields, believe it or not.
Awesome.
Did you get to play for free?
I did indeed.
Oh.
Yeah,
Were you into it?
love.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, big time. I happened to live close to 2 different paintball fields. My dad lived close to one field, and my mom lived close to the other. So I would be able to walk to both, and I got jobs at both of them. And so everybody in like that area knew me. I was like a huge paintball guy. It was great. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Really expensive sport though. So
Is it?
if you're not falling out of control, I don't recommend it. But
A lot
I
of
would say like
tactical
my first.
equipment.
That and just the paintballs themselves. I mean, you
Yeah.
go through like around 2,000 a day, and that's
yeah.
like at least $60 or $70. So
Yeah, it ain't like the
that's just for
paintball
the
guns we had
paintballs.
where it was like thunk, thunk,
Yeah.
thunk. You're
Right.
dumping.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Exactly. So, but officially, I think I started working at a grocery store. That was probably in high school, like the first real business that I had worked for.
What did you do at the grocery store?
I think it was just like a general clerk for the most part. I mean, little cashiering, little stocking.
Yeah.
It was just like a local grocery store. In fact, you might have them in Pennsylvania. It's Grocery Outlet. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that.
I don't know
Yeah,
that one. Yep.
it's a little smaller. They like discount foods that have like dents in the cans and shit like that.
Oh,
you know?
okay.
So it's like it's kind of it just happened to be a job close to home.
Sure.
So,
That's great.
That's funny.
Did you like school? Did you enjoy school? Like, I mean, at any point, do you feel like, oh, I'm just this, I hate this, I'm just trying to get through now, or did you love it?
I didn't like school. No, I always felt like something was amiss. I was more into being social. I was never like the class clown, nor the most popular person, but I did have like a group of friends, and I just never, it never like resonated with me. It never did well because I just didn't like the formula. I think with taking tests, memorizing stuff like that. To me, like something just didn't sit right, and so. Unfortunately, my poor mom, like wondering what the hell is going on with me while I'm getting, C's and D's in high school.
I'm assuming obviously you were a smart kid. It's just,
well, I figured that out a little later in junior college when I actually wanted to go, and so that in community college. So that kind of was the turning point for me, and I actually went to audio engineering school in Los Angeles for a couple of years as well. So I'm a certified audio engineer, which has done me jack shit. But I got to pay off a huge loan, so that was fun, I guess. But,
at least I got to go in debt.
At least I got to go into debt for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like when we were working at Eden Park. It was a restaurant chain, and I'm like, there's a lot of engineers that work here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the truth. I mean, I don't know. I feel like the whole system's broken anyway, but we homeschool. Do you ever consider homeschooling? I mean, now that you have a baby?
Yeah, that's a big question right now. I think we're going to go that
road
direction
a while.
for sure. Yeah, we still got a little bit of time, but we haven't done any vaccinations for the kid yet. So my girlfriend, my partner, is not really wanting to do them. She's been doing a ton of research the past 6 months on it. So as of right now, I don't even think with California state laws we'd be able to put them in a public school if we wanted to.
Yeah.
So we're probably going to have to go private or homeschooling if we do it. So yeah. We'll see.
You guys lean anti-vax, huh?
For right now, I don't know.
We don't judge, by the way. We don't. It's everyone's personal choice. So go ahead and talk about it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I have the credentials to really speak on them. To be completely honest, I just know that to me, mandatory vaccinations is not okay. I do believe that medical freedom. So that's where I kind of stand when it comes to vaccinations. And it's kind of crazy how many people are actually for that idea for mandatory vaccinations. And if you could even present that as an argument, they'll call you an anti-vaxxer, and it's like, obviously you just don't get it.
Yeah.
But as of right now, she's not into the idea. So
and I kind of like how that's put. If it's mandatory, why can't it just be we vaccinated our children. I did not do enough research, you know, so we just.
But we always
went-
question
yeah,
everything.
we
Like, do we have to
questioned
do
it.
this one? Is this one necessary? Because my
Right.
thing has always been like, at a certain point, it was, you know, it's like people are dying from this stuff, and so they created vaccines to avoid it, and then it
Right.
kind of became a product, and they're like, what else can we
Sure.
vaccinate for? What else can
Yeah.
we
Right.
make up? What else can we
Absolutely.
shoot these kids up with? And I'm
So-
like, let's just do the necessary
Yeah.
ones. You know, the ones that were killing people in the 1800s or
Yeah,
whatever.
and they tried really hard to vaccinate our babies like the day they were born. I'm like, back up with that because they
Right.
just came out.
Same.
Like-
Yeah, same thing. Yeah, they
Um,
looked at us like we were crazy. They respected our wishes, you know, but yeah,
Yeah.
they did.
Yep.
And it's
Kind
also
of
like, if the
society.
vaccines actually work, what do you care
Yes,
what I do?
one. There you go.
I mean, your kid's
true.
safe. You got the vaccines.
One
what if-
said
Right.
he's pro-vaccine but anti-mandatory, and I
Amen,
that's
yeah.
how, and that's exactly
Pretty
how it
much for
should be.
anything.
It's if you want to feel how you feel about it, you shouldn't be forced to do it. You know,
Sure.
so
Good
And-
ideas don't require force.
good ideas
Yeah.
don't require force.
Absolutely. Agreed.
Oh.
100%.
Yeah. I think I got lost in looking things up because once you go on Google, you could be
Oh, yeah.
in a rabbit hole for
And
days.
it's also what you're looking for, how you word it.
Days. Yeah.
Show me
Yep.
why
Bad
vaccines are
and-
bad.
There's just
Yeah.
so much information on both sides of the debate, and there's
Right.
just so much nuance to it. And I feel like you kind of have to have a little understanding about the medical world and
Yeah.
some of the terminology, and I mean all that stuff. So yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I'm not in a place where I could say one way or another, and I agree there probably is some utility there when it comes to specific vaccines, but at the same time, yeah, I could firmly say I'm anti-mandatory, and that's kind of my stance
Yeah.
as of
No,
right now.
that's-
That's
I
a
really
nice,
just
safe
haven't done
stance.
enough- yeah, I just haven't really done enough research one way or another, you
Yeah.
know. So
And
I
that's
just,
okay. That's oh, Dottie is here. Dottie.
Oh,
she
yeah, she's, yeah.
is Peter and David Gay's
Liberty
mom.
Memes admins.
Yeah, Liberty Memes admins.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so Dottie is
Hey,
she just
Dottie.
dropped a little
Little link.
link. Thanks. Gosh, I couldn't think of the word. I'm like for you. Yeah, because she's been researching
I like
and
that.
stuff
Ron
like
Paul
that, so.
called it the medical industrial complex. Everything, any big
Yeah.
business is going to
Yeah.
have some.
And that's what scares me about it, though.
Absolutely.
You know, we don't do the flu
Right.
shot because I feel like they're just.
Yeah, that's.
I can't understand that. You know, and every time we go and they're like, "Oh, you don't want your kids to have a flu shot," and I'm like, "Don't look at me like I'm a bad mom because I'm not giving my kids a flu
Right.
shot." You know?
right. Well, they're highly ineffective. I think in 2017 it was like a 34% effectiveness rate. So
Wow.
even when you do it, it's not going to be completely
Yeah.
100% effective. And yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of incentive from your doctors, from the local pharmacists to
Yeah.
do
The
it because
kickback.
Yeah.
they charge the insurance companies, and they all have like different price points with the insurance companies. So it makes sense for them to push it.
Sure.
You know,
Isn't that disgusting?
Well, no,
Though,
they're
that's-
free
Lord.
flu shots. Get
Ah.
your free flu shot.
Get your free
It's
flu
not
shot.
free.
It's not. Yeah.
right? No, it's not. Absolutely not. No, you're paying for it one way or another through your insurance. So.
Yeah.
Now that just happened to your parents. Your dad got the flu shot, had the flu.
Mm-hmm.
Mom hadn't got it yet. She got the flu. So there's 50-50.
Right. And yeah, sometimes you get the flu immediately after getting the flu shot. So it's
Yeah.
like, what?
But
what's
no,
the
it's a
point,
dead.
really?
They recommended for my dad. He's in
Yeah,
his,
he's also special
yeah,
case.
he's late 60s, but heart condition and other issues. So
But
they
still,
recommend
got the
that
flu
plus
shot,
the
got the flu.
pneumonia. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
so-
same with the doctor we were taking the baby to. I mean, I think it was the 2-week appointment, she kept on stressing at the 2-month mark, make sure you get his flu shot. We're like, the 2-month mark? And she's like, yeah, the 2-month mark, and don't
Wait.
put him around anybody who hasn't had the flu shot. And we haven't gone back. Like, we just were like, fuck it, we're not going back
Wait,
to that
did you just
doctor.
say they wanted to give your baby the flu shot?
Yeah, 2 months.
Yeah,
At 2 months.
At 2 months.
Whoa.
Yeah.
My doctor was like, not until 6 months at least.
Wow.
And
Well-
we still denied it, but yikes.
Glad to see the consensus is so consistent amongst medical professionals.
Wow, I know, right?
2, 6, whatever, whenever you
2,
feel like
6, you
Nope.
know.
I don't know. Our income's kind of low this month. We gotta,
Yeah. Like we got to pump these numbers up.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's.
But again, that's the skepticism in the libertarian community, where
I think
it's just
so.
like
You question it.
where it's like at
Yeah.
the shop where I work, and everybody's just like this one guy's like, he's really opinionated about everything. He's like, oh, you get the flu shot. they're giving you a flu shot. You get the flu shot. You gonna take the flu home to your kids? You gotta get the flu shot. And I'm like, okay. And I'm gonna take your opinion, and I'm gonna throw it in my bag of other opinions.
Just garbage can.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. I totally get it.
Yeah.
Grain of salt.
Everybody.
But then there's the other
everyone
guy
has
who's
their-
like, yeah, I tell my wife I get the flu shot here every year, and I haven't had it in a decade. Because I just don't want to hear it.
Sure. No, I get it, man. I totally understand.
he just asked for the cotton swab and the.
Throw a Band-Aid on here.
I love it.
You can even say you gave me a flu
Alright.
shot. Throw it in the trash.
Yeah,
Charge my insurance.
that's funny. Now, are you into sports at all? Do you follow any?
Yeah, that's a great question. I
sport?
was when I was a kid, and I kind of fell off that bandwagon for a long time. But within the last, I would say, year or so, I've been kind of slowly. Well, I'm a Bay Area guy, so the Warriors. I don't know if you're basketball fans, but this year it's been a little rough. But the Warriors, last year were pretty fucking amazing. So it was fun watching them. And the Niners, surprisingly, the 49ers this year are actually good. It's kind of like those teams just were like, the Warriors, and we'll give you our skills. And yeah, now the Niners are good and the Warriors suck. So there's a little bit of a trade there.
It's a crazy year
They
for the
swap
NFL.
places.
Pretty much, yeah. So anyway, I have been watching a little bit more, which is funny because again, the Free Thought Project has been kind of critical of people who are sports heads, and I do think there is like a line there, though. Some people are just so involved and embedded into that lifestyle and that
sure.
culture. It's almost their personality, and I
I
just
have a
feel like,
Steelers
well,
room.
Yeah, we
The
don't.
people I know. No, there's guys that I work with. They're on the news because of their Steelers room.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe we should pay attention to like some other stuff, guys. Like maybe like politics and like how they're screwing us over, and all this police brutality and stuff. Like there's other things in life that probably should require the attention of like adults in this country, and it's just like like people just are so distracted
Yeah.
and
I feel like people
apathetic.
are,
in a lot of ways.
it's not even
Yeah.
like sports can suck you in,
Yeah.
but any of that, any and all of it, where people are watching all the drama shows and the
Sure.
America's Got Talent, reality TV, all that stuff, and it's just like I remember when we first found Ron Paul, and I was just like, man, like people are just drowning themselves at night, like just sitting there watching this stuff, not even knowing or caring what's
Wake up,
actually going
sheeple.
on. It just kills
Right.
me.
Sure.
I've learned to accept
Yeah.
it, but
Yeah, I've learned to accept it, and I'm not trying to be critical. Like to each their own, and I do believe there is like a time and place to have some moments where you actually enjoy yourself, your life,
Oh, heck
at the
yeah.
moment. And if watching sports is something that you enjoy,
Yeah.
then by all means go for it. But it's just the point to me where it's like it seems like if we could just move some of that momentum and enthusiasm towards
Yes.
some of these other issues, like maybe we wouldn't be in such a fucked situation with this
Yeah.
country, So I think it's that negligence that has kind of led us to where we're at now, and it's just that's the problem I kind of have with it. So,
yeah,
but whatever.
yeah.
I want
totally
to
get it.
interject a little
Yes,
bit.
please
Just
do.
'cause I don't want to keep you too long. I don't know. I can't remember if you said something about a time limit, so I don't want to keep the
Oh, I
conversation.
I should probably be getting off
Okay,
sometime soon,
I'm sorry.
but I'm enjoying this. No,
Okay, I'm
it's all
just
good. I'm
making sure.
enjoying this. Yes, yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
I'm not definitely not trying to push you away. I just wanted to give you that minute.
Oh no.
Okay.
So it's all good. Do you guys have people bringing you drinks? I'm like out of my beer now. I feel
Oh,
like
we just
we
bring the
come down
drinks.
prepared. Yeah, she's
Oh, okay.
pack
There
and
you go. There you go.
Beer's right here next to me. So,
This ain't our
And your
first
kids are
rodeo.
trained or something. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
okay. I will just ask you one more question because you have a baby and a family and pages.
And you gotta be exhausted.
Yeah, and I'm sure you're exhausted. So, as far as I just want to ask one more little question about being a kid. Is there like a specific memory for you that maybe stands out about this time of year, or just one in general that just brings you like happiness?
Oh, a seasonal memory.
Well, if it's
Yeah.
not a seasonal memory, it's okay. I just feel like it's Thanksgiving week, so
That's
I
usually
ask.
where.
Yeah, but it can be any memory, like riding your bike down the street, or like just.
Well, here's one, and this kind of applies more for Christmas. But I used to live kind of in the mountains. That's where my dad still lives, and I don't know why this one popped in my head, but anyway, we had this long driveway, and at the end of the driveway there was the road, and there was like a clearing from all the trees. So he used to take me out there, I think every year, and this is when I was really young, but we used to walk out there and look up at the stars looking for Santa Claus or whatever. And
Yeah.
occasionally, if you were out there for long enough, a shooting star would go by and it'd be
Awesome.
like, oh, that's Santa Claus, you know? So yeah, I guess, I don't know why that's the only one that kind of popped in
No,
my
that's
head.
great.
That reminds me of
I
like
love that.
Christmas time. They put out the window and there'd be like a radio tower like down the road, and you see that flashing red light, and like, is that Rudolph? Even though it's there every single night of the year, we never looked at it.
Yeah.
It could be.
And he's, outside the door jingling the bells. It's like,
That's a beautiful memory, though. That
Yeah.
really, really is. So,
Thanks.
I lied. I have one more question about. Did you
Sure.
you watch Christmas Vacation? Do you watch
Oh,
Christmas?
of course.
Okay.
Oh yeah, every year, multiple times.
Yay!
That's what I was gonna say.
Okay,
Do you,
good.
do,
Phew.
you have like movie traditions like? Ooh, and also I'm gonna add this one
Go
first
ahead,
real quick.
because of the season. I know what it is.
Is
Is Die Hard a Christmas
is Die
movie?
Hard a Christmas movie?
I knew you were gonna say it because I can read your mind.
Yeah, we're
I think I have to say yes, just because I don't want to piss off all your viewers.
we're
But
getting pissed off equally.
It's okay. I think everyone's half and half here about it. So
yeah,
Love you,
no,
Shay.
it's one of those things that like it's not predominantly a Christmas movie, but there's like a Christmas theme in the background,
Yeah.
you know. So if that counts as a Christmas movie, then by all means, it's a
Absolutely,
Christmas movie.
yeah.
I think so. But yeah, I'm so much a movie nerd that I lived in Hollywood for a while. My best friend works in the movie industry.
Oh wow!
I've bought drugs for Shia LaBeouf in the past.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so like I've
How did
definitely
we miss
deeply
that
embedded.
story?
I'm deeply embedded into that culture. So, planes, trains, and
Gloss over
automobiles.
that part.
My best friend used to be his creative manager assistant for Shia LaBeouf for like a couple years, and Shia used to get his weed from his dad, but his dad was out of town, and I had my medical marijuana card. This is before it was legal in California.
Yeah.
So at the time he had a DUI because he used to be a crazy hothead. He probably still is, but he had a DUI. So he called up my best friend, my roommate at the time, and asked if he could get us any weed, or if we could get him any weed. And sure enough, I had my card. There was a dispensary right down the street. So I shit you not, he rode his bike from Sherman Oaks to Valley Village. Anybody who knows LA, that's like a good 3-mile ride.
Oh my God.
And the best part about it was that once he got there, it was a BMX folding bike. So it was like a transformer bike.
Oh
So
my-
he like folded it up and like brought it into the house. Yeah, so Transformers coming to life. I mean, it was too amazing. And he probably stayed for maybe about a minute and a half, and he took a cab back home. And so yeah, that was the one time I hooked up Shia LaBeouf with a little
Put
weed.
that bike in the trunk.
Yeah, I mean that's
Was he insane then?
yeah, oh yeah, he's always been crazy.
Okay.
But to me, it's like I just could only imagine like driving in my car and like looking over on Riverside Drive and seeing Shia LaBeouf like
Yeah.
pumping his pedals and like all
No,
wet
dude, it's
faced
cool. I'm going to
and,
get some
you
weed.
know, like,
Go
yeah.
get some weed,
I mean-
man.
That's the
shit
only
you see in
reason
LA.
anybody would be riding their bike like that is either they're going to get
Yeah. Oh
a
yeah.
female or they're going to get weed.
Yeah,
Right.
it's one of
Most
two
definitely.
things.
Most definitely.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, that
Jason,
was
This was so much fun. I hope you come back on again because we had a blast talking to you.
yeah, I'd love to. It'd be
This
great.
was this
Thank
was
you guys for
wonderful.
having me on.
Yeah, is there anything people should be looking out for
And then
on
we
your
got
pages?
Police to Police. What is Police to Police? What point oh?
So we're at 3.0 with Police to Police. We're at 4.0 for the Free Thought Project. So definitely look out for those on
Okay.
Facebook. We're pretty much on any social media platform you
Yeah.
can think of. So
I found all
Twitter,
of them today.
Okay.
Float, MeWe, Minds, Mastodon, Gab, Tumblr, Reddit.
Okay, no, I don't know what those are.
Wow, those are a
That's
couple.
like-
A couple. I'm like, wait, what?
It's,
Yeah,
I
they're
know
so
people-
small.
But you
They're
got to
still
get
up
on
and
it.
coming.
You got to get on it. Yeah.
But please follow me on Twitter. I only have like 1,000 followers. It's not something that I really push very much, but
Okay.
it's kind of embarrassing. So I only got just a little.
Oh,
bit.
everybody
Little
go
bit
follow
fans over
Jason.
there.
Yeah, Jason Bassler 1, I think it is.
Is it Jason
It
Bassler
is,
one
yeah.
on Twitter?
Yes, sir.
Go find it. Go
Now,
find it.
you do all your. I mean, you gotta fund this somehow. So is it just clicks to your site,
Do you guys have a
and
Patreon or
subscription.
anything, or what is it?
Yeah, and Patreon. Yeah, so we have all three. We have a subscription service, which is ad-free. So if you're able to pitch in $3 a month, that helps us keep afloat, and you get an ad-free experience with the site.
Nice.
So I know a lot of people don't like ads, and that's one way to keep the Liberty alternative independent media going.
Yep.
Basically, at this point, need all the help we could get. It's been a struggle this past year just to stay afloat, and
oh man,
these people are constantly trying to take us down any way they can, smear us. I mean, I'm just talking to a lawyer yesterday and today, just trying to get some of these people who are smearing us constantly to cease and desist. So it's crazy, but
that means you're doing something important.
You're doing something important if they're trying to fight you.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to believe so.
Believe it. We know.
Yeah.
Thanks,
absolutely.
guys.
So okay, and then your Patreon. What other things can people do to help support you guys?
What is your Patreon?
That's a good question. Let's see. I think it's just the Free Thought Project. Yeah, it's Patreon, the Free Thought Project.
Okay.
And then if you go to our website at the very top, there's like a membership or support the Free Thought Project tab. We have different levels of membership, like a $10 membership a month gets you a free t-shirt and sticker, or not free, but a sticker and a t-shirt. And I think for us, like it helps us out immensely. We're still trying to get back our staff and our writers. We had to lay off 7 writers, 2 social media people after the purge. We just couldn't pay them anymore. So we're trying to slowly kind of get a buffer back so we can hire them back.
Yeah,
that's awesome that you have that operation though. That's so cool.
We want to, we want to give people who are liberty-minded, peace-minded, transparency and accountability-minded a full-time job doing this rather than working
absolutely
8 hours a day. So that was one thing I was always really proud of before the purge, that we were able to employ so many people. But after the purge, we weren't able to do that. So.
Yep. Oh my gosh! All right, everybody, you heard it.
Yeah.
You know what's going on. We're going to collect all of these,
I'll put a promo.
Dave will put up links and everything. So.
It's really easy. Like I did it today when I was promoting the show. I went on our platforms, Twitter and Instagram and stuff like that, and then just look up Free Thought Project, Jason Bassler, Police to Police, and your stuff pops up.
Yeah.
And it's obviously yours.
Thanks for doing what you're doing. You're out there fighting the good fight, man.
And that's one of the things. It's like you believe in the libertarian movement and what these people are doing. Definitely support, because there's a lot of work involved.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's amazing. A lot of people criticize us for asking for a few bucks a month. And it's like, I guess you feel entitled that all this stuff is just supposed to be free. And
right,
somebody else will fight for you.
You're putting in all that time and effort. What the heck?
And it takes a lot. I mean, not going to lie, finding the stories, writing them, making videos, making memes, scheduling them all throughout the day. I mean, it's a lot of work.
Dude, that is a lot of work.
That's why when we got into Liberty Memes, they have a Patreon too, but I was just like, I'm not going to go do this stuff. So I got some extra cash here. Go do that stuff for me.
Yeah.
Right. Sure.
Right.
Yeah. And we kind of have to. We have to help each other. I feel like there could be more of that in this movement, and it's just not talked about enough, I don't think.
No,
so
you're right.
You're right. Bringing it up, and the Liberty Memes guys actually are great about doing that. They have the $5 charity club, and I totally support the fact they're doing that. We're always trying to help out police brutality victims and stuff like that, whether it be getting their stories out or helping them promote.
GoFundMe
that's interesting. Maybe we can get you guys in contact and make it one of our
I mean, sure. I mean, anytime we could get some help and help each other, we're always for it. So
absolutely. Got each other's backs, right?
Fellow victims of the Zuck.
Yeah, victims of the Zuck.
Yeah, no kidding. And the state.
Yes. Jason, thank you. Congratulations on your baby. We're praying for your cat. And everybody, seriously, check out what he's doing, because this is awesome. This has been so fun. Oh my gosh. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Mary. Appreciate it, guys. All right, have a good night. All right.
Bye.
Peace.
I always hate saying goodbye.
Yeah.